Beautiful. And I'd love to see your faces, guys. You can see mine, right? Good. Hey, Ellen. Hey, MJ. Hi, Becky. Hi, Janae. Alicia's here, and I have a friend here, Gloria, who's joining us too. Grandma's in the next room. Mom's gonna pop back in, and I think there are going to be a couple of other people trickling in and out. And we have Allison as well. She's someone I've been working with personally for a while, so I'm really grateful she's here. And when you're feeling good and freshened up, I'd love to see your faces because it's that energy feeds me. But for now, I maybe just like as initial coming into the space, I kind of want to just imagine like this is a pool of replenishment. Like this collective space right here, if you can imagine it, is an energetic field of replenishment. Maybe you can just feel like you were stepping into like a hot water tub with bubbles and some rose petals and some incense is going on. And I don't want you like, you wouldn't go into the bathtub, 1 foot in the bathtub and then 1 foot in the cold flow, right? Like that would be really random. You put both your legs in, you put your whole butt in, you put your whole body in. And I invite us to do that in this space too. That's how you wouldn't feel replenished if you put 1 foot in the bathtub and 1 foot on the tile floor. So oh yes. I was hearing my echo from someone. So I invite us as well to be both feet in so that we can get the most from this beautiful space and from each other. And yeah, maybe we want to just breathe a little bit and land together, and then I can get into it. So however you're sitting, just be fully here, fully present. And I'm going to get into a deeper pranayam drop-in later. Taking a full breath in your belly, in your heart center, whatever breathing feels good for you. And just bringing all pieces of you, all parts of you, the part of you that's still waking up, the part of you that's thinking about the work you need to do next, the part of you, all of the pieces, okay, come here, join me now, just sit with me a little while. It's just an hour and a half. We can be fully here. We don't need to go anywhere. And anchor into the breath, open into the breath. Expanding the belly a little bit more, slowing the breath down just a little bit. Arriving, you're here, it's good. And coming into this space, I'd actually like for us, I mean, I know, but for us to share in the chat where we're checking in from. And I would personally love to get a sense of what your top 3 priorities for the year are, or for yourself, for the week, just so I get an energetic sense of what you're desiring, what you're envisioning for yourself, your body, your mind, your emotions, your energy. It could even be just a word that you're meditating on that you would like to deepen into. Write it out in the chats so that I can see it and that we can all see it. We can all see who we are. Falling from England. And I'm, by the way, in Mysore, in India. Okay, MJ. Love to hear it. She was in New York for the longest time, but she's got her like summer clothes on. I was like, no, I don't know. I'm just not feeling New York. There's a glow on the skin. Northern Colorado from Wales. Switzerland. Okay. And what are we feeling in terms of our priorities, our vision, our desires, a word that's just been coming up for us? And Gloria, you can alive, aliveness. Oh, I love that. Aliveness. I feel that a lot. Balance, steadiness, presence. Hello from Kenya. Hello, Becky. Priorities, stomach health. Okay, good. We're gonna touch on that. Alchemy and stillness. Okay, I love that. Duality, truth, expansion. Wow. So you girls are really liking the wood, the words and the frame of the words. Discipline, stillness, patience, grounded, joyful, heartful. Wow. Even just naming the desire and just bringing it into this space for me already feels so enlivening. It's like, this is what is living in you girls. This is the desire that you're having in the world as crazy as this one, to come into a space and say, I desire stillness. I desire patience. That means it's already yours. That's the love that's drawing you there, and it's already in you. And it's like you're just claiming it, really, I would say, rather than going somewhere to attain it. But these are powerful. And I think in general, what it kind of speaks to is your everyday life and living it with more balance and being able to be present with community more intentionally, more honestly, having relationships that feel more aligned, living more purposefully, having a work or a home space that feels really purposeful for you, being more deeply connected to your heart, to your emotions. And it's quite brilliant that all of you are grounding into some of these deeper energetic sensibilities that you know are necessary in order for you to actually actualize some of those larger visions. And so you come here and you tell me, I want, steadiness, I want groundedness, I desire presence, as opposed to like material things, which I know that you girls want, you want to see and actualize in your life. But yeah, this is exactly the space for you. I'm so grateful that you're all here. And really, it's brilliant because all of these things that you speak on are obviously not possible without replenishment, without feeling that replenished sense in the body. That's what really brings them alive in a sustained way. But before I get into what I mean by replenishment and the vastness of the words, I'm actually really curious what comes up for you. Like, what vision comes up for you? What sensations when you hear the word replenishment? What colors, what feelings do you experience in the body? What is replenishment? Mm, I'm just going to pin myself also. Never ending well of life. Feels like a spring to me. Yellow and orange and pink colors come to mind. Nature is replenishment for me, and I see both deep roots and flowing rivers being poured into Amrit. Amrit is nectar, the nectar of life, the nectar of immunity. Wow. I also feel like a spring, like this beautiful bubbling spring within my within my heart, within my veins, within my womb space. What about you, Gloria? It's like being again filled, filled with energy. Yeah, I think again, like just having that vision, allowing yourself to have the vision of replenishment, which is your birthright, is a powerful thing. Rest is replenishment. Rest, like true deep rest, is replenishment. And no one taught us how to rest. It's like something we have to self teach, self learn. Like we knew it when we came out as little babes, and then somewhere along the way we just forgot it completely. So yeah, when I think of replenishment, I also think of like just biting into a really juicy fruit. Like I think about a mango or a peach that's just like dripping and feeding me and giving me so much life. And then you see, and it just gets messy on you even. It's just like dripping down your hands and in your chest and in your chin, but it's so good. And you don't want to cut it into perfect slices. You just want to bite straight into that juice, into that nectar. That's kind of how I feel about replenishment. And it's just delicious. It's just so yummy. But yeah, I mean, it's good to fantasize about it. It's good to have the vision. But here we want to get a little bit practical. I know you girls like coming into my space because I get practical as well. And I wanted to bring into maybe, some of those major patterns around all aspects of our lives that actually bring us further away from replenishment than closer to it. You need rest. You know the sensation of it. You deserve it. You know how it feels when your body feels rested. And you deserve a life where your body feels rested, revitalized, recharged. And yet, why does it seem so slippery, so delicate to actually live out that reality? And I'm talking about living out that reality, not when we're on vacation for 10 days and we can completely check out. I mean, living that reality when we are traveling between time zones and schedules, when we're in the midst of heavy deadlines, when we are with that romantic partner who triggers all of our demons, when we're at the family gathering that is just like big energy. We deserve replenishment even then, as this type of baseline, as this anchor point that we can kind of come home to and feel ourselves grounded back in, landed back into, even when we're being tested, right? That is the deeper core of replenishment that I want to invite us into, not just like, oh, replenishment when we escape and when we are, when we're in the hot springs of California. Like, no, now, here, now, in the midst of it. And again, I know that you're not here because you do not technically know about certain choices that would help you to be more aligned to rest. Not because you are not taking vacations or breaks, or you're not taking yourself out to eat at good, beautiful restaurants, or you do choose to eat wholesome food. You do go and maybe go to the spa or go to a nature spot when you're feeling called to. I know that you girls do this and are integrated in this. But I also know, and I know this because it's my experience, it's my body, it's my lived experience, that even with all of these things that you do to stay replenished, it doesn't seem to translate into consistent and continuous and easeful aliveness within all aspects of your life. Vital stamina that can continue pouring into all of the people and projects you love, a sense of deep fulfillment and presence, even in your in-between moments. So at this point, it's not actually a matter of doing more and more, or knowing about all of the different, things, activities you can do to recharge. It's a lot of this, it is some of that, but a lot of this is also just seeing through the blind spots that have you arrive to your rest with the same energy that took you away from rest in the first place. You hearing me? And that's where we create new patterns, right there at the roots. And then we arrive at a few consistent practices which will have the most benefit for you. If not, you will end up getting stuck in the same frequencies again and again and again, even with all that you intellectually and practically do. So we're not talking about replenishment as, also, like I said, mindlessly checking out and saying, okay, I'm going to distract myself for a bit and do some zoning out things. We're not talking about a random array of indulgences that you can arrive to and do it with this type of validation seeking energy, or sometimes just misinformation. But and so we're going to get into some of those blind spots, those areas. But I actually, of course, I need to hear from you. What are some of the main concerns or the main issues you see yourself cycling through? Even if it's subtle, even if it's really subtle, like Niv, I don't know, like I'm taking a vacation and I find that I feel guilty for resting. I feel like I wake up in the morning and there's fatigue in my body, even though I'm doing all the things. Or I feel like there's deep tension in my body in certain places that just seem to continue to stay calcified, no matter, what yoga I'm doing and what workout I'm doing. So I'm curious, like, you had a desire for replenishment. You've come here, you have a desire for all of these things, but where is it that you're feeling yourself stuck or challenged? Where? Impatience. Impatience. So you just feel the impatience like alive in you, even when you are like in a place to be resting. Got it. Yeah. Impatience. That's, yeah. 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 What's the next thing? I need to do something. I need to be in that next zone already. I can't stay here. So it's literally like you're in that hot bath. You're in this hot, beautiful tub with the rose petals and all the incense. And then you're like, okay, that's great. Like, I get it. Now what's the next thing? It feels like, yeah, you need to keep moving. There's that energy. And so you might even know that you have the space and you have the time, but there's something internally that won't actually let you really receive from that. That is so real. That is so real. I've experienced that. I've been like on my thing was like when I was hiking, it was really hard for me to enjoy a hike. I was like, I just want to get to the end point, and there I'll have the picnic, and there I'll sit down and eat the thing. And I used to live in California, and so people hike a lot, but they're like, I felt like they were really enjoying the hike, and I was like, I just want to get to the place, and then I can enjoy it. I wasn't fully there for the walk, you know. That's been like a growth process. Um, Prevent migraines. Migraines will kill you. Migraines will kill you. Yeah. Anytime I sit down for work, I feel bogged down and restless and like I lack capacity to accomplish anything. So I have to keep stepping away to resets. Okay. Okay. So like a heaviness in the body, that kind of like a simultaneous heaviness and shakiness that coexists. heaviness and fogginess. Yeah, so where is the clarity or the sense in the mind of how to be in that present moment when you're dealing with that heaviness and fogginess? And I know it because of, again, like, you know, so many of these things that you bring to this space are things that I've really lived and felt in my own body. So I know how tricky it is, you know. I'm not going to undermine like moving through that heaviness, moving through that stagnation. Tired despite of sleeping sufficiently. This is real. This is real. That exhaustion is just like there in the body. I have experienced a lot of loss in a short time period and been navigating through grief. So releasing the heaviness in my heart in order to move on. Yeah. And there's no shortcut. There's no shortcuts. And what's beautiful is that grief too can be its own opportunity for replenishment, in that there's this energy in grief of like just the fullness of life, the fullness that life brings to us, and the gratitude and the love that we experience in order to feel grief. And so there's something here, I feel like, that can be actually sourced from this grief and from this heaviness. There's a richness there. And I feel like from what I know, Janae, that you have been sitting with that and you have been embracing that. But yeah, all of these things are real, and thank you for sharing like some of these concerns and where you're at. And before I get into it, I should introduce myself. I know most of you here quite intimately, actually, but there are people that will be watching this replay, and I don't think I've met you, Irem. And I don't know you too well, Shreya. So I'll just introduce myself a little bit more formally, and then we can get into it. So I'm Niv. Hello. Should have done that right at the beginning. Hello, I'm Niv. And I'm here dropping in from India. This is my motherland. I was born and brought up mostly here. But as a lot of you know, I've been living and working across the world for a long, long time now. But I'm back, and I'm really sourcing from the richness of being back. So yeah. And what I do is I help my clients into states of aliveness. So Gloria, yes, aliveness, fulfillment, ease in their thoughts, in their emotions, in their energetic frequency, their physical body too. It's all interconnected, the hormones, the gut, the skin, metabolism, so that they can continuously enter into that next level, because we're constantly evolving and constantly stretching and expanding our own capacity of what that fulfillment and ease feels like in our body. And we're all in different moments of this, but so that you can enter into that next level of your creative genius, of your aligned relationships, of your capacity to perform and show up at work and feel that energy, and really helping you to actualize high potentials of your brilliance, your innate coded brilliance and health, without the burnout, not with this like forceful, intense, harsh energy. Because in my experience, first of all, I just don't want to live life like that. And in my experience, it's not sustainable. So all of this with sustained results. And how do I do this? I'm a trained, experienced Ayurvedic clinical practitioner. I'm trained in classical Ashtanga yoga, pranayam. I'm embodied and practicing in Kundalini Tantra yoga. I have a master's in social practice and fine arts. I've worked closely with creatives, artists, musicians, executives in multiple fields, industries across the world. And I bring all of this together, all of this experience. And this is just kind of the surface level stuff. You know, of course, the embodied experience is so much in the emotional smacks that the universe gives you and that you grow from. But I bring all of this together. It's scientific, it's intuitive, it's personalized, to invite you into a field that feels truly extraordinary. Because I am not here. I have not consented to live life in the way that the status quo is happening in the globe right now. I did not come into this life to and consent to that. So I have made an executive decision that I'm going to live life how I envision life can be and how I feel in my body that it can be. And I have stuck to that, and it's become more alive in me. So I know it's real. And if it's real for me, it's real for you, because we are not separate. We are made from the same spiritual force. And I also invite you to recognize that when you are in my space, when you're in this field, there is no separation. Anything at all that you feel like inspired by or you feel energized by, know that it's alive in you too, and claim it. It's not like, oh, like Niv, what did Niv do? No, it's yours. Claim it. You're here, and there's no separation actually. And that's something that we can just drop into on a energetic level beyond anything that I say today. So yeah, and of course, important to me is that I speak on things and I facilitate on things that feel really alive in my own cells, in my own body. And again, I don't entertain rigidity. I don't entertain harshness. I don't entertain dishonesty. There are certain values that that are really important for me, that are like my baselines. And I believe that you are here because you are aligned on those values as well. And that there are some non-negotiables that you live by as well. And I, again, invite you to relook at that, just like as a side note, what those values are, because I will tell you, for me, sometimes just kind of going back to those basics of like honesty and tenderness and gentleness, and how I can enact that in small, minute moments in my life, have really made huge shifts, like huge waves of change. And now I actually want to get a sense from you, because again, I know that you are people that have invested into rest and replenishment and learning about it and learning about your bodies and taking time. But there are kind of multiple stages in this journey that I've seen and I've experienced in my own body. So I'm curious to see where you feel like you are at, also just so that you can name it and you can articulate it and you can kind of place where you are. So I would say the first stage for me was when I was living and working in China, and I was living in, I was like working in the tech space. I was also working in nightlife. I was like very active, very engaged with life. And I already at that point knew that I wanted to do things that were restful for me. I wanted to have a balanced life. So I was taking vacations. I would go to the spa in China. It's great. You have like 24-hour spas, like 24 hours. You just go whenever. You just sit there for 24 hours and pay like $15. It's crazy. But you know, I was earning money at that. It was like my first income. So I was going out for nice dinners. I had a boyfriend. I had a partner that I was like really into, and so wanted to do things with him. I used to take swims. Like, you're getting the picture, right? I was like doing things. The point was, what, again, I'm going to say this again and again, what was the energy that I was bringing into all of those restful things that I was doing? What was the energy? What was the underlying core essence Forget the form. Forget that I was in the spa. Forget that I was in a vacation. Forget that I was in Greece. What was the essence driving that form? What made that form alive? What was the intention? Was it because I thought rest was actually productive for me? Was it because I had this idea that the more balanced my life was, the more perfect I was and doing things right? Was it because I wanted to show people, look how balanced my life is, even on a subconscious level? Like, look, guys, look, I'm doing such a good job. I'm doing all the things. Was it because I felt like more downtime with my partner would mean that our relationship was stronger and more, like that was good, that it was a healthy relationship? Like, what was the driving force behind all of these doing things? Because I was doing a lot, and or I was watching a Netflix show. I was watching some TV show with my partner. I'd come home and just check out and watch some Netflix thing, or like he liked to play video games. I'll play some video games with him, or something. And like, sure, I'm not working. I was not working. But now that I say this, in moments, I almost feel like sometimes my work was more replenishing for me than those downtimes. It was more replenishing for me when I was doing nothing, because I was not present in my body. I was not fully here listening. I was not mastering a skill of attunement. I was just, here's the form, like here's what it looks like on the outside. Niv is chilling. Why was I on edge? Why was I irritable? Why was I so sensitive? Why wasn't I able to speak my truth in moments of trigger? Why did I feel sleep deprived? What was going on? And this is kind of like a stage or a phase, you could say, that maybe some of you are in or you identify with, where you could tell me like, Niv, I'm doing the things. Like, you could see my checklist. I'm checking the boxes. So what's happening? And this is kind of it. This is that first stage where it's like, yeah, I'm doing the things, but also I will say that they're kind of haphazard. Where's the intelligence in them? What is it about me? Like, what does it have to do with me personally as a unique being? It's just kind of like these generalized things to do, but what does it have to do with my gut, my emotions, my personal blueprint? What in it is personalized to me, apart from, okay, I like swimming. Oh, okay, I want to go to that place for a holiday. But like, really, when you scratch a little bit beneath the surface about the food that I'm eating, choosing to eat, when I'm eating, not like, it's not really, where there's not so much intelligence in it. And then of course there's that underlying energy that might have been in its own right distorted and unrestful and centered around validation seeking, productivity, insecurity, fear, a desire to appear perfect, a desire to achieve perfection, a refusal of just being present in the present moment. So that's one stage. And if there's anything that you are resonating with, where you're like, yeah, that I feel, that I experience in my body, that's a place I am, let me know. I need to know where you're at and what's, yeah. So the second stage for me was, again, I think a couple of you are going to resonate later, a couple of years later, when I began to commit quite ferociously to my yogic and Ayurvedic practices. So I arrived to these because at some point I could tell my mind and body were breaking down. I wasn't able to find stability with certain habits. I was feeling emotionally reactive in my relationship. I was having these really strong experiences of desire and jealousy and competitiveness and shame that I wasn't actually able to fully navigate or communicate or process. And I realized, okay, it's not enough to do all these haphazard things. I want to get focused. I want to go deep. Level up. Like it was like level up energy, Niv. We're doing it now. Discipline 100. Like you can't touch me. And yeah, I was doing my yoga every morning. I was studying. I mean, you could not even imagine how much I was studying Ayurveda, implementing it, integrating it, like playing with the recipes, the doshas, the this, the agni, the that. And okay, life definitely changed 360, you know, this level of order and stability, like the amount that is purified from the body, the amount of places and people and things that started to shift, the amount of like issues that I was having with pain and UTIs coming back again and again, or like a lot of things just like a lot of things lifted, a lot of lightness definitely entered into my body at this point. My immune system, oh my god, my immune system skyrocketed like crazy. My body started to feel more toned. I felt more in my body, more like even like proud of it, like what it could do for me. Skin cleared up. So incredible, right? Like, okay, there's an evolution, there's an arc here. Now you scratch a little bit deeper. Just scratch a little bit deeper, and you can still see all those buried emotions of perfectionism, of criticality, of harshness, of rigidity, of hiding, of comparing, of competing, still alive. And it's very subtle. It's very subtle. It's a very internal experience. You must have a certain level of self-awareness to recognize and see it in you, and have that spaciousness to see it in you. But it is what was keeping me from feeling truly alive and vital in a full-bodied, emotional, mental, energetic way. And of course, soon enough, I did begin to see the symptoms of misalignment show up, you know, like they will show up. Chronic injuries in my yoga practice, some pain resurfacing, some irritation in my relationship, deep stress still alive in me, even if, you know, mostly hidden, unseen by most people around me. And to be quite honest with you, for a certain amount of time, it was hidden to me too. Like I didn't actually fathom what was still buried in me, because I was so in the doing, and I felt like, look, I could see so much progress and I was doing all the things, but at some point, I guess through the help of these practices, I could see that they were still limited, that it was not the end, that I'm not here now stuck and being like a super rigid yogi, disciplined and no pleasure, and just like even the pleasure, it's all about the health, and like, whew, that's exhausting in its own thing, man. My God. My God. Third stage is where the real magic starts to happen. It's after having years of these brilliant structures in place, I began to understand what was necessary versus what was excessive for me. What is the energy driving my rituals and routine? The full web of interconnectedness between my mind, my emotions, my body. And this is where balance and play become more important than perfection and performance. Balance and play. How beautiful, how curious, how wonderful than perfection and performance. Which again, I'm not going to undermine the potency of that stage too, because you can tell like it obviously was kind of like a necessary anchor point from all the more haphazardness to bring some intelligence and bring some structure. But I see too many people getting stuck in that structure and forgetting life. And then to move from that structure and kind of recognize what is it serving, and dropping deeper there. And that's where true aliveness and flow and creativity and vitality is waiting for you. It's the energetics become more important than the form. And then it's from this stage that we move to stage 4, where vitality is all about resting in the replenishment that is available to you within each and every single moment of life. Each and every single moment of life, it is available to you. It is not about going outside of your work or escaping reality or carving out intense structures. Replenishment is life. Okay? Get it. Be with it. Replenishment is life. And this is the stage where you start to derive the nectar of life from doing nothing at all or doing the most. You move to what feels truly pleasurable in your body. And the intelligence of that draw is real. It's love. Love that closes the illusion of separation between you and what is yours. And you are constantly pulled when you're needed to be pulled. And sometimes you're being pulled internally. You're not pulled externally. Actually, a lot of times in this stage, you're really being pulled internally. It's not coming from a place of urgency, of desperation, of achievement. It just is what your body desires to evolve, to grow, and to pour back into life, which is the highest desire a human can have, in my opinion, is to say, look at how powerful and replenished and magical of a being I am, and I was born like this, and I have brothers and sisters and community and all of this to feed. What a privilege. Not because I have to, not because it's my duty as an elder daughter, not because I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders, and if I don't, I'm not perfect and I'm not worth anything. It's just my desire. It's just my desire, and I can. And this is a really personal and private experience, right? Like when we talk about the replenishment of finances, because by the way, replenishment is all replenishment, right? You're replenished here, the world reflects to you that replenishment financially, monetarily, relationally, romantically. That you can just take for granted. But I know that it's easier to speak on certain forms of replenishment because they're so material and you can see them. You can say, yeah, I have 100K in my bank account. I have $1 million in my bank account. Look, I'm so financially replenished. But how does someone know that you are energetically replenished, that you are spiritually replenished? How is that seen or felt? How do you know that? How can you trust? Like, what is it that tells you that Niv is replenished? Like, what is it? It's so energetic, right? It's so subtle. It's so private. And I have to say, it's unfortunate because when we look around us, we can see there are certain types of replenishment that seem to be very alive in people. But when it comes to the replenishment of like health and aliveness and love, the baseline is so low. The baseline around is so low. And so it's too easy for us to go about our lives thinking that we've reached a ceiling. We're like, this is it. This is what life is. Like you look everywhere, it's normal. It's normal. Like this irritation, this being on edge all the time, the snapping back, it's just a normal thing. It's just a normal thing. You have to be so creative. You have to be such a child with such a big daydream to envision a baseline that is, like I said, extraordinary. And that baseline really matches the caliber of the way in which you want to show up. So is there a stage of any of these things that you are feeling like, okay, yeah, Niv, I'm kind of here. I'm kind of in stage 2. I'm between stage 1 and stage 3. maybe someone's here like, I'm stage 5, baby. So like, own it where you are. I just want to get like a temperature check to see where you feel, like, really honestly, because again, you know, it's just, this is the journey.
Is it okay if I just speak?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I think I'm between the stage 1 and stage 2, and figuring out what those things are that make me feel more aligned, and cutting out the realizing what the off balance is that is present in my life, and making those changes, and then coming up to that stage 2 where you're still feeling issues come up, like injuries in yoga and stuff like that. So I think that's where I'm at coming to stage 2, where I'm just stuck in this loop of, I'm doing a few good things, and then something big internally or externally will happen, and then I'll, quite honestly, I might get demotivated again. I might just stop doing the things, or reduce the amount of balancing, replenishing things I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then figuring out, oh, like, which actual treatment or which actual meditate, like asana or specific breath work is actually being effective in me. I'm probably not giving it enough time, and getting demotivated and not sticking with something long enough, because then that hiccup will happen, and then it'll be too overwhelming, like a flu will happen, and then I'll just be unwell, or my menstrual cycle will be more difficult or come a bit randomly. So yeah, so due to being in that vulnerable space, any sort of hiccup will send me like a serious smack, when it just needed to be a small little wobble, you know? So that's where I'm lingering in that stage 1 and stage 2, but refusing to go back to stage 1 in life, because I've acknowledged how much my a previous lifestyle wasn't healthy, and how easy I can just get stuck in that loop. But I'm somewhere in that middle, and I've been there for like 3 years now, and it's very foggy now. Time just feels very foggy, you know? So I think I'm just going a bit loopy as well, because it's going on for so many years now, rather than just months or weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I will be honest, like, nothing happened to me in weeks or months. Like, I didn't hop, skip, and jump from stage 1 to 4 in a couple of months. Like, this has been a decade of work, you know, a decade of practice, of moving slowly, and also acknowledging that one way of looking at these is a linear way. Okay, there's like a progression, but another way is acknowledging the cyclical nature of this, the spiraling nature of this, and that there are seasons, like, even for me, seasons of when I'm like in a more haphazard moment, seasons where I'm in a more structured, routined moment, and acknowledging that, like, I mean, for me at this point in my life, it's almost like all of the stages coexist, but kind of take more predominance. But I will say the shift in the spiral is really what is the energy driving the form. That is it. So it's like, yeah, the structures might fall off, and then I get back to the structures, or I might be super routine, or, you know, like, those things kind of shift. I might have the hiccup. But what has changed drastically for me is when I do arrive back to, let's say, a super routine, disciplined season of my life, there's so much more gentleness in my body. There's so much more ease and acceptance. There isn't so much tightness. So when that hiccup comes and throws me off, I'm not like, oh my God, who am I without these structures? I can't believe I did this to myself. I'm such an idiot. Like, I can't even do my practice for 2 months straight. Like, none of that energy. But like, you met me 5 years ago, and I got an injury, and I couldn't practice for a year, for a week. Forget a week. I was going crazy. I could not accept it. So the same thing will happen, but there's a different energy underneath it. And that's really, I think, for you and for a lot of us, that is where you get to pay attention and you get to start looking at, like, what is it that makes this hiccup into a smack rather than a wobble? What is it internally about my way of perceiving myself and this situation? Where am I rejecting it? Where am I fighting it? Where am I, being harsh internally? So yeah, and okay, around stage 3, between stage 3 and 4, love it, love it. You're there, you're tasting it, beautiful. Skipping from stage 1 to stage 3, amazing. Okay, well, we have all of us in all aspects of this journey, which is beautiful. Gloria, do you feel like where she's chomping on some chocolate? where do you feel like you might be at?
At the moment, probably 3, but I definitely recognize the cycles.
Yeah, she definitely recognizes the cycles.
It's great to be around you.
It's great to be around me. Okay, so replenishment, just to say it, is like the natural waters of vitality flowing through your body, bringing nectar, intelligence, and life. It is the natural state of your being. Your body, your human body. Oh, how much love has been poured into this human body to be able for it to be in this intelligence, and the natural state be one of replenishment. That is how this body was designed. That is what it wants to do. That is what it's constantly trying to do for us. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's when we block, we restrict, we deny this flow that we have the challenges start to build up. So it isn't about immediately looking outside to fill ourselves up with more and more. A lot of it is about clearing out stagnation, blockages from the mind, from the body together. It's to open circulation and channels, not only physically, but also energetically, for the healthiest flow of your vital life force. So I'm going to walk us through some of the biggest blocks that I see, and then we can drop into some practices together. So the biggest mental block that I see is when you believe that your worth is dependent on your performance, and your performance is contingent on you being switched on. How many of you grew up where your parents told you, child, the more that you rest, the better marks you will get in school. The deeper sleep you have, the better college you will get into. Which of our parents, which of our society members told us, the more that you rest, the more that you are actually successful? How many of us grew up where our parents were anxious if they saw us chilling? So if you believe your worth, your identity is contingent on your performance, and your performance is contingent on you being overdrive, that means your worth is related to overdrive, even on a subconscious survival state, you will never allow yourself to fully relax. It's impossible. If that is the belief that you hold internally, that who I am requires me to be switched on and in overdrive, why will your body switch off? And how will you be able to repair? How will you be able to actually rejuvenate? It's impossible. So that mental belief, that mental blockage is something that needs to be worked through. And step 1 is just looking at it, being like, holy shit, my body is in a constant state of stress because I believe somewhere that stress is what makes me who I am. So I will hold tension in my bones. I won't be repairing when I'm sleeping. I won't actually be able to fully sleep. So just have that there. Put that down. See that linkage. Reflect on it. The second is an emotional blockage. When your emotional state is tied to the outcome of your actions, not the process. This is what I was talking about when I was like hiking just to get to the end. Your joy is contingent on the fruits. You decided that it's only satisfying when I have things outside of me that show me results. Satisfaction is derived from something like to be had. Then your relationships become more about validation than of deep curiosity. You're wearing masks, you're hiding aspects of yourself, you're not telling the truth. This is exhausting. You're only fixated on the outcome. What is this going to look like? How is this end of the conversation going to look like? What is this person going to be convinced of me? You go into a meeting, you have a conversation with your parents, you're sitting with a friend, and all you can think of is how is it going to be at the end of this? And that's where my joy is, and that's where my ease is, and that's where my satisfaction is. You are going to be exhausted. And this one has been huge for my clients to really evolve out of stuckness and that feeling that some of you brought and said, I'm just feeling exhausted and heavy and fatigued for no reason. I'm sleeping, but I still feel heavy in my body. Well, think about how you're doing a thing. Again, the energy that's driving the moments. Is it curiosity? Is it playfulness? Is it just like, okay, I have to have this really difficult conversation with my parents, but maybe I'm going to learn something new about them in this conversation. Forget about whether they're convinced about whether I'm doing the right thing or not, whether I'm in the right relationship or not, whether I have the right job or not. Forget about convincing them of all that. What if in this conversation, I'm just so present and maybe I'm going to learn something about them. It's curiosity. Maybe this will go somewhere. And so much of our life is these conversations, is these relationships with our siblings, with our colleagues, with our parents, with our lovers, with our friends, whatever, with our work, with ourselves. And to release that, oh, my ease and my joy and my satisfaction, it's only available to me at that end point, at this specific expectation, and it needs to look in this way. And maybe there can be ease and satisfaction derived from just being playful and being experimenting and exploring. And that goes to also how we arrive to our self-care practices. If I'm so fixated, I can only feel good once my skin is fully cleared up and it's completely blemish free. That's when I know this thing has worked and I am going to feel so good. My God, I would be exhausted. I would be doing my skincare routine with so much like urgency and perfectionism and looking, has it gone yet? Is it there yet? What's back yet? Instead of, oh, let's just do it. And just have fun with it. Look at these textures and this color and this feeling on my face, and maybe it works and maybe it doesn't work, but I feel so good and it's indulgent. And I want to play some music, and that's an energy, right? It's an energy that you can actually bring to pretty much anything you do. You have a big performance, you have a big project, you have a big deadline. I mean, these are things that really exhaust people because they're so in that anticipation of the end thing. And that's where there's so much heaviness in the body carried. So again, just look at this emotional link, and in your own life, later after this class, you might want to write down and be like, yeah, what are these rituals or things that I'm arriving to, my breakfast, my meals, my lunch with colleagues, how am I arriving to this with this feeling like it needs to be a certain way, or else it's a waste of my time, or else it's not good, or else it's not perfect, or else I'm not perfect? And maybe say, okay, I'm just today gonna try out being completely playful and experimentative with this, and just explore what kind of satisfaction can be derived in that play. And really, again, this is where things start to shift, where you'll find that you're doing the exact same things on the outside. People look at you and they're like, you're not doing anything different. You're literally living the same life. You're doing the same routines. You're eating the same food. How are you feeling so much more alive and energized? Where is that richness coming from? It's because you have released this block, this heaviness, this closedness, which only allowed you to feel pleasure in a specific result. Why? Because you were taught that playing is a waste of time, that exploring doesn't get you anywhere, that curiosity kills the cat. What is it? What is the belief that you're holding that doesn't, that, because you used to love playing. Remember that. That was an innate part of you. You used to love playing. You used to love just picking up random twigs and making a random house out of it and pretending Tom was walking in and having a affair with, you used to do that all. You didn't know where it was going, what it was going to lead to. And there was so much joy and richness in it. That version of you is still in you, by the way. She's still alive within you. She's still there. She's still a part of you. So you don't need to doubt, Niv, am I going to really enjoy playing? Am I going to really enjoy being curious? Is that possible? You look, you tell me. You tell me if it's possible. You tell me if you were a child that you didn't enjoy playing. The third, physical. Now we've looked at a mental, we've looked at an emotional, physical. Easy peasy, stagnant breathing, stagnant metabolism. And we're going to close this with some deep breathing. But if your chest is tight all the time, if you're not allowing yourself to drop into your belly, to open out into your lungs, your vessels are constricted, how is nourishment and nutrients going to flow through you? So you could be getting a full sleep, but just notice your breath from moment to moment to moment through the day. That could be the key. That it just needs to be a little bit more expansive, a little bit wider, a little bit more open. Forget about any harsh, intense breathwork technique. Forget about perfecting it. I'm just saying, open. That's it. That's it. And that is also going to support the gut, because maybe there isn't circulation being able to happen in the gut, or waste material able to release from the gut, because your vessels are so tight and the oxygen isn't coming in properly and it's not flowing. And after a point, that's messed up all your neurotransmitters. It's messed up the serotonin. It's messed up the chemicals. So the full body is not able to fully function, just because the breath is stuck in one layer of the lungs. And the lungs are vast and there's depth to them. And there's so much that gets to be cleansed and purified. And even stagnant emotions lie there, stagnant beliefs lie there. Just imagine what a year of opening the breath and opening the lungs in the most gentle and consistent way would do for you. How much muck would start to get cleared out? How much would start to get stabilized internally? And with metabolism, which is the fire of digesting and processing, also when it's stagnant, of course, we're going to feel that heaviness. We're going to feel that fatigue. So simple. Start sipping on hot water through the day. If that is your experience, just start this one thing with on the physical level, which is the easiest for you to do, right? It's just the easiest. You're opening your breath, and whenever you want to drink water, you're just boiling hot water. You can maybe mix a little bit of dry ginger, and you're sipping on this hot water. Hot water, it's fluid and it's opening up the channels. It's opening up the vessels. It's opening up circulation. Any type of toxicity that was stuck anywhere in the body, in the gut, in the skin, in the mind, overall, is going to have an opportunity to start getting flushed out. Do not underestimate the potency of these two things that I just said. They might sound simple at their core, but do it with consistency, and you circle back to me and tell me what has changed, because they are life-changing. That's it. Hot water, sipping on it, so beautiful, so simple. Really supporting the openness of those channels on a subtle level, on an energetic level, on a physical level, which is necessary. And the breath, which was designed to replenish you from moment to moment to moment. And the last one, and I promise you this is the last one, because I know this is already a lot, and I think we feel energetically we just want to drop into some practice. This is a spiritual blockage. And quite simply, this is when you believe that you have to do the heavy lifting of your life and of your goals and of your desires all on your own, and that you do not have the support of divine cosmic intelligence that wants to see you thrive and that is here to support you and love you and protect you. And I can say from my own experience that feeling like I have to carry the weight of my own health and life and desires on my shoulders has created a lot of tiredness in my body. I still have the tightness of my traps. Like, you cannot believe how much it's so like rock solid in my shoulders. Rock solid. For so long thinking I had to do this on my own. I have to figure this out on my own. It's my mind, it's my intelligence. I have to control, I have to plan, I have to decide. Oh my God. It's only when you transfer some of that weight, some of that responsibility onto the greatest source of intelligence, replenishment and creativity, source itself, mother, the cosmic mother, divine cosmic mother, this intelligence, this fabric of life, that a deep hum of sustained lightness is experienced in you. And this requires a lot of humbling. We have so much arrogance. Oh, me, I can do this all on my own. I have to do this all on my own. I'm going to carry all of this on my own. Humble the self a little bit. Trust a little bit. It's a lot of surrender. And this is by far the toughest, I would say, of all the 4 blockages to fully clear, considering how deep our conditioning goes. But all of this that we're doing here this replenishment at its core, this breathing, this Ayurveda, this yoga, it is collaborating with nature herself. It is being in collaboration with the elements, with this intelligence, with your body's intelligence, to see your most mind-boggling desires and goals through. Instead of holding the weight of these dreams on your shoulders alone, you can be in partnership. Partnership. Doesn't that sound replenishing? Doesn't that sound loving? A healthy partnership with the highest intelligence there is in this world. This changes everything. This is incomparable bomb. So those are the four main blockages that I want you to start reflecting on and looking into in your own life, and recognizing the work is to really start just clearing out and releasing, because what is underneath is the replenished state of being. And you don't need to make the mistake of staying stuck in that rigidity, in staying stuck in going about it all alone, missing those blind spots, feeling like the heaviness of holding it, or the haphazard attempts, or pouring in, pouring more and more and more without clearing out, creating space. So I want for us to address some of these areas right now. So how about we get into some practice together? How does that feel? Do we have time, those of us that are still here? Good. Because yeah, some people had to drop off for work. So let's just maybe get into some of that deep breathing. So coming into seated postures. And I'm just like opening out a little bit. Just do whatever feels good for you. Roll your shoulders, stretch out your arms, close your eyes. And just drop into the body. And pay attention to where that breath naturally goes, where it's flowing, where it wants to go, where it desires. And don't get in your head if you feel like you start to suddenly sense really viscerally those blocks in your breath and in your circulation, because I know it can be a little bit confronting. You're just observing, you're just noticing where it might feel tight. And maybe just to start, we can bring our hands over our belly button, and start to funnel the breath right into the abdomen. So your chest remains completely relaxed, shoulders completely relaxed. They don't need to do any work right now. You can let them rest. The work is happening in the diaphragm and the belly only. So your inhale, the diaphragm pushes down and you feel the palms open out, the belly stretch out. And exhale in, softening, relaxing. And notice when your chest wants to start coming in and doing some heavy lifting. Notice when your shoulders want to start moving. Just notice if there are parts of your body that don't allow your belly to just really open out and receive the breath. That's when the lower aspects of the lungs that are usually otherwise so stagnant start to open up. And don't worry about any count, no counts to this. You just inhale for as long as feels good for you, and you exhale for as long as feels good for you. But the focus is the belly button. Nabhi Shvasa Pranayam, the focus is the belly button. Opening out, expanding, and relaxing in. As you continue, the belly starts to feel more active and relaxed at the same time. It opens out just a little further. The breath drops in just a little deeper. Your focal point quite precisely at this belly button point, opening out. And if you feel your mind begin to wander, get distracted, move somewhere else, you just bring it back to this beautiful opening and closing of the belly button. And if you are feeling any sort of restlessness or tension come up, just notice it. Where is it coming from? What is its purpose? Nothing. Useless. And come back to the breath. Just 3 more. And just coming back gently into the space. And just feeling already what that simple breath shifted for you. It creates more openness, more relaxation in the body, in the mind. Enjoy that. Rest in that. I had planned for us to do a little ritual of applying some oil on the skin and on the feet and doing a little massage and listening to some music while we did it. But I wonder if we want to stay in the silence and the stillness for a little bit longer and do just a little bit more meditation, if that feels okay or good. What is the energy? Where is the energy at? Okay, well, let's just stay in the silence and stillness for now and just do one more practice. And then I'm going to invite us into a vision for the year, which is what I am doing to stay replenished and what I'm doing with clients to stay replenished. And this is like precise words that clients have said after working with me, which is working with Niv has helped me feel replenished emotionally, financially, spiritually, energetically. Byram. Where I know we're going a little bit over time, but also a lot of you dropped in a little bit late. So let's just have 10 minutes more together. How does that feel? Good. So, yeah, this work of replenishment is your birthright and you don't have to do it alone. So I'm going to invite you into how I work with clients and what exactly is included and what we do together to really experience that in a deep-rooted way. But let's just do one final practice to create a little bit more lightness in the body, and then invite you into that vision. And I will say, like, it's a vision for everyone, for your family members, for your aunties, for your uncles, for everyone that you know. And so it's so important for you to know what's available for you, for people that you love that are seeking this replenishment. You know, it's like, it's not an arbitrary thing, it's not a random thing, it's a very systematic, precise, intuitive process that you can actually go through to experience it 100% of the time. So let's do one last practice, just coming back into the body. And I like to, this is an energetic practice. I call it the magic box, or it was taught to me as the magic box practice. So you can come back in and just close your eyes. And I want you to come back to your breath and feel that landing with the breath. And just imagine that you are holding a box in front of you. So you got your arms out, you're holding this box on your lap. Taking a deep breath. Landing into the body, landing into the breath. Relaxing the mind. And just start repeating to yourself. You can repeat it out loud, you can repeat it in your mind. And whatever comes up, it doesn't even need to be a vision. It could be an emotion, it could be an energy, or it could be nothing at all. But just imagine whatever comes up as you say the sentence to fill the box that is in your hands, that it pours and releases out of your body into the box. And the sentence is, all the times and all the ways in which I block my rest. All the times and all the ways in which I block my rest. All the times and all the ways in which I block my rest. All the times and all the ways in which I block my rest. All the times and all the ways in which I block my rest. And just keep repeating to yourself and see, remember, feel all the times and all the ways in which you block your rest. All the times and all the ways in which I block my rest. And just feel that pouring into this box. Box is filling up. All the times and all the ways in which I block my rest. All the times and all the ways in which I block my rest. Release it. Let it go. Let those patterns go. Let them detach from your body, from your cells, from your mind, from your memory, into this magic box on your lap. All the times and all the ways in which I block my rest. And now I want you to take that box, and on the right side, imagine there's a 50-meter ditch, and chuck the box inside. Smack your hands clean. Thank you very much. And come back to center. And just take a full, deep breath of lightness and restfulness and easefulness, which is your birthright, which is what you deserve, which is the natural state of your being. This is your inheritance. Replenishment is your inheritance. And this is it. It is so multi-layered. Replenishment is so multi-layered. And it's not, it requires an expertise that is not just about the mind or the body or the energetic body, but all together. It requires someone or some knowing that is by your side, that is actually an expert in cohesively and systematically facilitating this for you. You as a unique whole being. And that is what we do as Ayurvedic health professionals. That is what my role is as a Ayurvedic health coach, health manager. I don't fit into any boxes. The beautiful thing is that I work with you over a full year. So all of these layers, obviously, you've recognized, they're not something that you just release overnight. But you see the picture, right? You see how attainable it is. You see the vision, you see the blocks, right? It's clear. This map is clear for you on an energetic level, on a spiritual level, on a mental level, where you might be blocking yourself, where just subtle refinements and shifts can help to open up the entire being and release so much of that toxicity and stagnation. I'm curious, like, what is coming up for you right now? How is this feeling in your body? What is the energy? What is the sensation?
Hiya. So I'm feeling really relaxed, and I have always struggled on a day-to-day basis with silence and filling the silence and just really sitting with it. But yeah, today when we just did that practice, the silence felt exactly how intended, I hope, which is replenishing. The masterclass was hoping, but yeah, so it I need to tap into that more often, and sitting, and even post the silence, just sitting with that replenishment and not just running into the next productive activity I could do, you know, and just enjoying that feeling of so feeling more replenished with that silence and that relaxing.
Wow. It's so brilliant that you can experience replenishment from silence, because that is a superpower. And the fact that you in this moment are recognizing that, it's already huge. It's already huge. Yeah, wow.
Also, thank you, I guess, for facilitating that experience. Yeah, thank you so much.
You're so welcome, of course. Allison says, feeling so much more fluidity in my cells, groundedness in my body, and charged and alive at the thought of having a wellness manager in partnership with my goals. Yes, relaxed, inward focused, with more capacity to be with myself. This is it. Like, we started this masterclass speaking about the energy that drives the form. And this is your energy right now. This is what you get to hold and carry in yourself into everything that you do. And imagine how different that's going to feel, how different that experience of life gets to be. It's spectacular. It's spectacular. And just to give you a sense of what this work looks like with a little bit more detail, and then I'll let you all go and stay with this energy. And actually, stay with this energy now, because what I'm going to speak to you about, I want you to imagine it as if it was something that you were being gifted. Like someone told you, I'm gifting this to you, Shreya. I'm gifting this to you, Alessia. I'm gifting this to you, Becky. And this is what it includes. And this is what it entails. And just receive it like that. So there's a lot of lightness in the body and openness in the body and curiosity about what this process is. And you don't have to question whether you deserve it or not, because it's already been gifted to you. And this is the process of working with me over a year, which is the minimum now that I work with anyone. And we meet weekly, one-on-one, and we also drop in continuously over WhatsApp or Telegram. You have access to me. Our first session is like a full in-depth Ayurvedic consultation, meaning I assess your mind, body, constitution, the full map of your being, what is off balance on a physiological level, on an energetic level. And I start to set you up with precise foods and diets and practices, really simple, like slowly over time, that you get established in one, and then we introduce you to the next. You get established, and then we introduce you. And I know that 3 months in, you're going to fall off. I already know it. I already know you're going to come to me one week and say, oh my God, Niv, this week was hectic. I don't know what happened. I was acting crazy. My parents were visiting. I had a big deadline. I had a big project. And like I was traveling and I just kind of fell off. And that is a part of it. That is why we work together over a year, because I'm seeing you in these spirals and I'm helping you move up and outwards as opposed to downwards. I'm saying this is normal. This is a normal part of this path, but you're still a bit higher because you have the awareness, and I'm going to just glide you through so you're not going to get stuck there. And I'm seeing you and I'm accepting you for these flaws that you have been putting so much pressure on yourself for. And I'm the mirror that loves you and says, it's okay. We're going to keep doing this together. We're going to keep doing this together. And so those practices that you otherwise had impatience with, or you fell off, or you got demotivated about, or you were really harsh about, and then it happens with tenderness and it gets established in the body with a lot of force, actually, but because it's driven by gentleness. And they just become an extension of you slowly, slowly, slowly. And it's for you. The practices are for you. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing. It's like, we just did a magic box, all the times and all the ways in which what completes that sentence is going to be so much more fine-tuned to you. And that one deep block that really is stuck there in the cells. And that's what we're going to help lift off and release. So it's a lot of, we're working herbal, dietary, lifestyle, relational, conversational, all these things that are happening in your life. And we're looking at it from the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, the physical, week after week, with love, through all the seasons. And that's when things start to get cleansed out and recalibrated and replenished from the inside out. And about in October, so about we start working in the beginning of this year. Right now I only have capacity for one, at most two more clients. So it's not like I work very intimately with my clients. So it's not like I'm, calling in. It's like only if you're really, really aligned and you're committed and you feel the resonance and want to do this work with me, because I'm going to be pouring into you as well. And I need to be in this love with you, but about October we start working within the next month. In October you come to India and I personally guide you through a panchakarma, a 2-week deep cellular Ayurvedic cleanse, which is a full recalibration of the gut, of the body, of the emotions, of the spirit, any type of mental heaviness, chronic imbalance, tiredness, any accumulation that you've had gets cleared out in that process. It is one of the most intelligent cleansing processes in the world. It's comprehensive and it's personalized, and I'm going to be there with you by your side day in, day out, supporting you through that, so that it's not just a physiological, physical cleanse, it's also happening on a spiritual, emotional level. And there is nothing else like this in the world. Nothing else like this that cleanses and rebalances and fortifies and replenishes your body on all levels. And the panchakarma at this quality is only possible in India. And a panchakarma with someone who is equipped to guide you on an emotional and energetic and mental level is only possible with me. The doctors here are not equipped. They just do the process. It's very medical. It's very technical. It's like a treatment. And you sometimes feel very vulnerable and very lost, and things come up and you don't know how to process them. And it's a little bit, it's quite daunting actually. And I've been through it, and I'm like, wow, this requires a lot of inner strength to go through this alone. Like, wow. And so I am now going to be supporting my clients to go through this there by their side. And this is the magic. And this whole process, this year long of moving through the Ayurvedic integrations, embodying them, mental, spiritual coaching, week after week, coming, doing the panchakarma with me, all of this there's no one else doing this in the world right now. You will not get this anywhere else, this level of healing and guidance and support. And it really is a partnership. You have a vision and I have a vision for you. It's a shared vision. And I am pouring into you to see those results actualized. And so 100% of the time, there are results. There are guaranteed results. So it's not, we love the process and the process is going to be, mwah, but also you can best believe that the version of you that leaves this 1 year in is living on a completely different frequency. The frequency of replenishment, the frequency of feeling that, sensing that, knowing that. So any issues, and again, like if it might be your mother, it could be a loved one in your family that you're like, this person deserves this gift. You deserve this gift for sure. At least once in your life. You cannot go your life now that you know it, now that you are aware that this is possible. You cannot go your life without receiving this gift, because it clears out anything. Any chronic imbalance, you tell me, Niv, this is the situation, I will say, yes, I can help you. I know it. Of course, the heart-centered alignment needs to be there between you and me, or me and the person I'm working with. And then we collectively also create new patterns in the body so that you can sustain a certain baseline of health for years to come. And that's very important for me as well, is that we are shifting the baseline. And like I said, it's just an incredible gift. Imagine it's a gift to yourself, and your life changes completely. And again, if this is my experience, this is my reality, it's the reality of clients that I've had, it's your reality too. It's your field, your frequency. Meet me here, meet me in this intelligence, join me here. It's spectacular. And yeah, actually, I will just do a thing and send you the link, and I will email you as well, so that you know what the details are, and you have it for yourself. This is the gift of the lifetime. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I feel so grateful to be connecting with you here. Of course, those of you that came, dropped off early, Gloria here. Those of you watching the replay, thank you for sharing in your energy. Thank you for having the desire alive in your hearts to serve and create and live in overflow and live with vitality. And if you are a big yes in partnering with me and working with me, apply. Let's get on a call. If you are a return client, if you've already been with me and studied with me, there's a big discount for you. If you're here live, there's a 20% discount on the entire program fees, which includes your own private room, full rejuvenation, full Panchakarma package, and the 52 weeks of coaching with me for the full year. It's extraordinary. And yeah, we'll be working very, very intimately with each other. So meet me here. Yeah, do we have any questions at all on any of this? Okay, we're feeling good. We're feeling that replenishment still alive in the bones, in the body. Beautiful. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Message me, email me if anything comes up, and you'll also be hearing from me. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Shreya. Thank you, Alicia. And thanks to...
Thank you, Niv. Was amazing. Thanks. Sorry that I couldn't
Bye.
participate. I told you I couldn't.
Yeah. You're
Hi,
good.
everybody.
Okay, we'll talk soon, everyone. Ciao.